Hi, folks. You are watching and listening to another edition of Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media, all of our channels and networks. I'm Mike Morales here in less soggy Southern California. That gentleman out there is.
I'm Bryce Taylor in Austin, Texas.
You all are probably familiar with Bryce. He is also known as the tequila connoisseur, the Austin tequila connoisseur. So if you follow him, you should. If you're not following him, you should. But he's also one of our catadores. He's a graduate of our graduate our consumer catador course, which is undergoing a revision. It's almost ready to relaunch. I think we should call it the reloading. You know,
There you go.
the tequila catador course reloaded.
Reloaded,
Kind
yeah.
of like the Matrix reloaded, because we all live in the Matrix. Speaking
Part
of
two.
Matrix, we have Ameragave. There's some really interesting backstory to this American agave spirit. Don't be it looks like it's in prison. Or
Yeah, it's a cool
like
bottle.
it's got pinstripes. It's like
It's
seersucker.
got etched pinstripes on the back.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but anyway, I like the color. I like the color. I like
Yeah,
the Tiffany blue, and it's got nice presentation. The last time I saw a presentation like this was the guys from it'll come to me. They had originally their tequila was organic, and then they moved to another distillery, and now it's all diffuser. But anyway, this is Ameragave. It's an American agave spirit. They're based in Austin, and when I saw that, I said, you know what, we taste agave spirits, we taste everything. So from other countries and even our own. And I said, okay, I think this is up Bryce's alley, and you did some research. This is an 80 proof. Now, how exactly? What's the story behind this? I don't we don't have any background information, but I know that Bryce had got some, and he did meet the brand owner, the owner of the juice here. So
yeah. So it's Brett and Holly Beckett that live here in Austin. So when Brett was going through the different, I guess, revisions and samples, he had sent me two of them. So at that point, they were using tequila, bulk tequila from 1438. That's not currently on their website, but I assume that's still where it's coming from.
okay.
And they still
So
say,
so this was
that it,
bought 100%, 100%?
yeah, it's 100% agave,
Okay.
no additives. Um, agaves from the highlands and the lowlands, and it's cooked with, I guess, half of it's brick oven, half of it's autoclave, slow fermentation, distilled twice in copper. Um, so then that is sent here to the U.S. and it actually goes to California. So they claim
I
that,
noticed it said it was bottled in California.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So then they say that they have a subtle maturing process without the oak, for the silver, preserving the agave's profile. I don't know for sure. I'm guessing it's probably aeration. Um,
Okay.
'Cause I don't know what else you would do to a silver, other than just, bottle
Well,
it
yeah, I
up.
mean, you could put it in a barrel, but they say they're not using barrels. You can put
Yeah,
it in
no, they're
a barrel
not.
and pull it out, and.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't use barrels traditionally. We'll get to that in their gold, but yeah, so yeah, their silver doesn't, yeah, there's no wood. I mean, you could rest it in glass or, stainless steel for a
Yeah,
bit,
yeah, yeah.
but yeah.
Okay.
So yeah,
So, but it does not say, there's no gnome number on it.
no.
So technically, when it is sent in bulk to the United States, and in this case, it's bottled in Torrance, California,
Yeah.
um, then this would be uh, uh, an agave spirit.
Yeah.
Uh, and the marketing is really interesting, doesn't it say? I think I saw a either on the website or on Instagram. It says um, made in Mexico, or born in Austin, made in Mexico, something like that. Which is tech. There's a lot of brands that are coming out of Texas and will say the same thing. So
Yeah. Yeah. What do they say here? Um, yeah, I'll find it. But yeah.
yeah, but in the
Yeah.
meantime, I'm
Yeah.
gonna, as you can see, I had some spillage, not a whole
Yeah.
lot. But there, but I gotta say, and I honestly have had tequila from 1438 that has been really decent. And in the beginning, when we first started doing these, when we were doing them consistently in 2013, a little prior to that, there were many brands coming out of 1438 that were really solid. And it wasn't until I think in the last, Bryce, maybe you'll agree with me, in the last surge of brands coming on the market, that's when things started to go downhill. And some of the insiders that we know will tell us, well, their master distiller, you know, he bailed on them because he was overworked and underpaid, and there's all kinds of scuttlebutt.
Yeah.
But in any case, I'm going to pour mine in Estazo Jarrito for tequila because this is an 80 proof. Um, and I was impressed with the bubbles. And like I say, I've had some really decent tequilas coming out of 1438, but I've also had some real dogs. And the smell is good. The smell, did you smell that?
Yeah, I did a first pass here.
Well, even when you open the cork, and I've had this on my living room floor for like
Mhm.
weeks. I mean, it's been there for, I think, before Christmas. And this is like mid-February right now. We're taping this. Um, I do like their packaging. I like the way it
I do
looks.
too.
Doesn't this remind you a little bit of for me, because I lived in New Mexico, it reminded me of a lot of the old Thunderbird hotels, that would have the
Yeah.
kind of like the 40s look to it, or a car,
Yeah.
classic car.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. It looks like kind of that hood ornaments. It's metal. It's quality. It's got the little agave there at the top. It says Ameragave, agave spirit. But also, I like the use of kind of that eagle or thunderbird because
Yeah, yeah, I do
it's
too.
used here in America and in Mexico quite a bit. So it's a good shared symbol.
Yes. Yeah, and they do
Yeah,
have a QR code with the little symbol there in the middle, so you can snap that QR code and it'll probably
yeah.
take
I tried, but because it's
you to the website.
clear, couldn't get it. But
Oh, really? I wouldn't read it.
just
But yeah,
Google
I mean,
Ameragave. Yeah,
I'm sure it goes to their website. So
yeah.
anyway, the first nose pass was actually very good. It smells like agave. It smells like,
Mhm.
like a decent tequila coming out of 1438. And I will tell you, I know that we've done, by the way, 1438, no 1438 is Destiladora del Valle. I use B as in Valle. And it's famous. Siempre started there. Nosotros is still there. Some of these really great tequilas that I've had, and I gotta say, most of the time the Blancos are very solid. All right.
Hmm.
It's everything else that I have a problem with, but we'll see. I never dissect these things. I just drink them. I
Yeah, but I'm
love
getting
it. I
that.
love the nose, man.
Yeah, I do too. Crisp agave. It's a little vegetal,
Yes.
um, which is nothing wrong with that.
On the
Uh,
bottom, you get a little bit more of that citrus brightness, but on the very top,
yeah,
you get that baked oven baked agave. And it's very reminiscent of some of the ones that, that seems to be the marketing. It's part of the marketing benefits, and that you get, that a lot of brands who come out of there will say, we use Highlands agave and Lowlands agave, and we bake one and autoclave the other, and then we toss them all
right.
together, and this is what we get. I love the nose.
I do
I don't have
too.
any complaints at all.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
Very
not
minimal
overly
alcohol
complex,
right
but
in the
it's
center.
yeah, it's clean, nothing off-putting. It's a good nose.
Yeah, you want to dive in? Oh, you know
Yeah,
what? I haven't even looked at legs and tears. Hang on a second. Not bad. The legs and tears are good.
yeah.
They're not too thin, which is what I always look for, because when you look for legs and tears, folks, what you're doing is you're anticipating the mouth feel, how it's gonna lay on your palate, how
Viscosity.
what kind of viscosity, the body. We call it body structure. We use the nomenclature that we've developed over the years, and it
Yeah,
very
but if it just like
we
shears off the glass, then it might be
yeah.
thin or um
If
kind
it
of work.
sheets off the glass,
Yeah.
you may as well be drinking water. We actually had one a week ago or so. Eric and I were doing one, but it was a non-alcoholic agave spirit from Peru, and we've had
Okay.
the other agave spirits from this brand, but the non-alcoholic kind just literally sheeted off the glass, and
Yeah,
and
it's a
I
different animal.
the whole,
Yeah.
the whole, yeah, it's the whole process is different, and I'm still not impressed by it. But I mean, it's a great mixer, is what it. Yeah, it's a great for
Yeah.
mocktails, is what it would be.
But yeah, it would be unfair to hold it to that standard, I would think.
Oh yeah, you
Yeah.
couldn't. It's just it's a um, unique in that it comes from the Andes, from Peru. So, well,
Dig
I'm
in.
ready to dive in. This smells very familiar to me. So here we go. Spit bucket is your friend, folks. Mm.
Mm.
What do you get on the first pass? That was my first pass. I don't. You haven't had any yet, so.
Yeah, no, I hadn't tried it all. Yeah, I mean, mostly agave. Um, it's a little oily. Trying to figure that part out in the middle.
It's got some good lip and gum numbness too.
Yeah,
I didn't hold it in my mouth for very long. I didn't
maybe
do.
in like mint. Like,
Oh, could be. Yeah, you
yeah,
could you could have, maybe a little or herbaceousness. Sure.
yeah, yeah. Mostly agave though. Nothing, nothing wrong on that first pass.
No, it's very I'm gonna say it's very characteristic of a lot of their blancos that come out of that distillery.
Mm,
And 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 I love every time I get a blanco from them, unless it's got just one that had stuff in it.
mm.
Just one so far. But every time I drink one of their blancos, and I've had some solid tequilas coming out of there long before the increase in the amount of brands that were coming out of there, and you know, it's the boom, and it's a boom. I mean,
Yeah,
they're pricing for new people to come to them. I hear the pricing is very good to do a startup with this company. Um, but most of the time, the blancos out of there pretty solid.
second pass, same thing. Get the agave, kind of good pepper. The pepper lingers.
Um, it was a little bit more aggressive than I thought. Than it,
Mm,
and that's not a bad thing. I mean, I like a tequila that's or an agave spirit that's in your face. I mean, I'm going to try and keep using the term agave spirit because that's what this is, but
right.
it really is a bulk tequila. What I
Yeah,
noticed is it's got a little bit of bitterness toward the rear and the sides of the palate, and it's got a good finish too.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, overall, it's good. It's like not overly complex. You get the agave, which is good. I've had a couple other, American agave spirits that are made different. Granted, I don't, theirs wasn't bulk tequila, but I really love that agave still shines through.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do too. I think it's a good selling point for their Blanco.
Hmm.
What kind of price point do they have in that area in Texas? Are they anywhere besides Texas? Are they in California?
I didn't look at that. Let me see here
Okay.
what I've got.
All right.
I didn't look at their reach, but so their silver is 59.99, and that's on their website if you're purchasing a single bottle. They do a lot of package pricing, so buy two, buy three. Obviously, it gets more affordable, but that's their single bottle most expensive price.
Well, if I'm going to pay that kind of money, I mean,
Yeah,
50 is a going rate. I'm going to say
yeah,
that
it's gotten there. Yeah,
it's gotten to that point. Um, But the fact that this is an American agave spirit and that's the way it's being marketed, and it has to be marketed that way because there's no other choice.
right.
Uh, I don't know. I don't know. If the number means something to anybody and you could probably get a Blanco coming out of the same distillery for, 40, 39.99, something like that. And
Yeah, and they don't put the gnome on their website or bottle. I just remember from previously working with them, that was what it was. But all their production methods fall right in line
Do they
with
do anything
that.
extra to it? Do they run it through a still one more time like Tito's does, where they because Tito's does that with their vodka. There's only two places I think two or three places in the US where you buy bulk vodka and then they run it through their stills and they call it handcrafted and then they get sued in California. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, the only thing I could find, because I was trying to figure out what they do, but their line, they say we have a subtle maturing process just without the oak, preserving the agave's profile. So yeah, as far as there's no other distillation. That's what I'm saying. It's either rested in glass, steel, or it's aerated. That's the only process I could think of. They get a little creative with their aging. We'll talk about that with their gold, but
okay.
I don't think they do too much to the silver, you know.
Well, I'm going to put it to you. I mean, as an American agave spirit, I say because of the background that we know where it comes from, and we've had tequilas that were pretty solid, Blanco tequilas coming from this distillery.
Hmm.
I'm going to say it's a brand of promise
Yeah,
in
no,
that
I'm
Blanco
good with that. It's
category.
yeah.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I think it's perfect for cocktails. It's perfect for what it is.
Hmm.
I think it's bold enough. Now that I've had like a
Yep.
second pass, it's bold enough to stand up to like a ranch water.
Yeah, I think all your traditional, tequila cocktails, this would fall right in line with.
Yeah. And there was plenty of great, I'm going to say there's plenty of good bubbles. I mean, the quality's there. This is, it's as much as the other enhancements and some of the other brands
Hmm.
as part of the MO for this distillery. On the flip side, their Blancos are generally really good. Uh, but like I say, if you're calling this an agave spirit, you're buying it in bulk and it's got this kind of quality, but the price point's not there for me. For
No,
me, okay?
yeah,
Because I could buy a bottle of Celaya tequila. It's owned by two brothers who used to play football, and it's got the same this got the same flavor profile as a Blanco. And I could probably get it for a little bit cheaper, and it's got a num number on it.
yeah, that's
So
true.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, what do you think? I mean, you've got an opinion. What do you
Yeah, I agree. Like, I understand they've probably got a lot of, money wrapped up in this, but you're right. At the end of the day, you're not able to label it a tequila. It does have nice packaging, but yeah, I would think an American agave spirit would be kind of a little more affordable. You know, I think you'd kind of want to beat out the tequilas, in my opinion.
I was going to ask you, what was I don't know if I don't know how long you guys spoke. Bryce told me off camera how his name is Brett, right?
Yeah.
How Brett delivered the booze to his house,
Mm.
to Bryce's house, and it was kind of a little over the top, but that's okay. Um, I just wonder why not why not just go all in and import a tequila? I mean,
Yeah.
you're going to go through all this trouble just to label it. I mean, what was the reasoning? Because if you didn't want to compete with what's on the shelf already, I can see coming in as an agave spirit. I get that, but you're still going to compete one way or the other. How are you going to distinguish yourself and not everybody, by the way, and then and we true confession, Bryce knows where this is being sourced. Unless Brett says otherwise, now we're going to assume that that's where this is coming from. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's where
I
the
mean,
samples.
he doesn't
Yeah.
have to tell you. You have to tell anybody where it's coming from,
Yeah.
and we just because of who we are, um, we know things. We drink tequila and we know things. So you know, I don't know why he didn't just go all in and bring a tequila. Why he could have used the same branding and everything and just call it something else like Thunderbird tequila. I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. No,
you know.
I was kind of looking at their website to see if there's anything direct, you know, like a statement, but
the only thing I
Yeah,
could think of marketing wise is that he would want to come in as an agave spirit, so he's not competing with all the tequilas that are coming in and mezcals, and that way he can distinguish himself and put himself in a separate space on a
right.
shelf.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many, this. You tell me. I haven't been.
Yeah,
I haven't.
it's a different sales pitch. You get to have a different conversation, than every other, tequila brand.
Well,
But you're right, it's not too different that, yeah, I guess they just this is just a
like for
decision.
instance, unless there's a separate space, well, I can see this. Unless there's a separate space, like in specs
Mhm.
or total wine, the only separate space in a total wine right now, and they need to stop that, is an additive free space because that doesn't mean anything anymore. It never did in the first place, but it became this cult thing since the 2020s, since the pandemic. But it was never really a big deal. Okay, it was never. It was just a I know I'm bursting everybody's bubbles, especially some liquor stores out there, but Total Wine has a section, they put a piece of cardboard, add it to free, like it's a big deal, but the CRT is squelched that completely, and it never was an issue. So I can see being placed in that kind of a shelf, which means you're still competing with additive free tequilas. So I don't
Yeah.
know how does he plan to distinguish himself
Well, and the
from
Total
everybody
Wine here
else?
in Austin, that's my reference point. There are other, agave spirits, and they're still in the tequila section. It's just at the foot they have an extra tag. So if you don't even read it, you might just grab the wrong thing, not knowing. So you're
Okay.
right. There's not a whole other section that they would be getting into,
Yeah.
which could be a possible benefit. But yeah,
And how long have I haven't been in Texas for, since 2020. So how does Specs even distinguish anything? I mean, they probably don't, or Twin Liquors,
yeah, I don't think
because
Specs does much.
those are the big liquors
Yeah,
stores, the
in Texas, yeah.
franchises, that
Yeah,
are
no, specs mainly just differentiate mezcal and tequila, and then so this stuff I would assume would be the same and be mixed in with the tequila
okay.
selection.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, still a brand of promise. I mean, if you
yeah,
folks have had it, tell us what you're doing with it. What you think how you see their marketing, how they're distinguishing themselves. But yeah, it would be fun to talk to Brett and find out, you know, more a little bit deeper, go deeper into the background of you know, why not come in, why not go all in and bring in a tequila, and do stuff with it. But
yeah. I think it'll probably be a little more clear. We're also going to review the gold. Spoiler alert. But they do different things there, and so that might be the genesis.
okay,
There's some technology
okay,
with aging, and
all
so
right.
the focus might not have been on the silver.
It's just the base. Yeah, it's what to start with, and
Yeah.
you gotta have that because you can't if you're gonna do something funny or unusual or unique
Mhm.
with the rest of your line, you better have something solid to work with, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, well, solid tequila, solid
Yeah.
agave spirit.
Yeah.
It's called Ameragave. If you've had it, let us know. If it's coming to other states, like in New Mexico, my old stomping grounds, let us know what you're doing with it. What are you paying for it in New Mexico? Um, uh, or anywhere else up and down the state of Texas. Tell us what you're doing with it, how much you're paying for it, where you can find it. If they're in restaurants and bars down, maybe in Houston or somewhere in Galveston. I don't know. But anyway, that's our take. Ameragave. I'm really looking forward. I'm glad that I sent this to Bryce because he's been able to do a lot of footwork and Brett the owner is local. What was his last name again, Bryce?
Beckett.
So it's Brett Beckett.
Yeah. Brett
Okay,
Beckett. Yeah.
that's a mouthful.
Yeah.
Um,
Brett and his
but
wife
yeah, I
Holly.
I think maybe he's on to something. Maybe we're maybe he's crazy like a fox. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're about to find out. So hang with us. That's the Ameragave Blue Agave Spirit Silver is what they're calling it. I'm Mike Morales here in Southern California. That gentleman out there is
Bryce Taylor in Austin, Texas.
You've been watching and listening to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media, all of our channels and networks. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow Bryce on Austin Tequila Connoisseurs on Instagram and Facebook. Follow us at Tequila Aficionado. Whatever you do, tomar sabiamente.
Sip wisely.